Hi and welcome back to Cooking by Zoe. Today's tutorial I'm going to share with you on how to make these delicious baked eggs. These eggs are seasoned and baked for 2.5 hours until they are firm in texture. These are a favorite of my kids and myself as well, and they do last for up to a week covered in the refrigerator after baked. This is how the inside looks like, and I'll be using a special little tool in order to crack the eggs. That's why all of my eggs have a crack that's pretty similar and I guess you would say perfect. But if you don't have the tool, I'll show you another way on how to crack the eggs, and I'll show you on how to make this delicious dipping sauce. This is all of the ingredients and tools that I'll be using for today's recipe and tutorial. I will go in detail, so continue watching if you'd like to learn how to make these delicious baked eggs. Okay, so let's get started. You'll need a large bowl, and I'll be using this egg cracker topper, which I purchased off of Amazon about a year ago. But if you don't have this, I'll show you another way on how to crack the eggs. And this is pretty much how you'll be using this little device. It's actually pretty unique and really easy to use, and I really like it. So to use this tool, you're going to grab your egg, place the tool on top of the egg, pull that little lever and let it go. And then when you let it go, it's going to create that crack on the egg. And you want to just remove the yolk and the whites, and then place the eggshell back onto your little cardboard, the egg cardboard thing. Okay, and then this is another way, is just to leave the egg on the cardboard and repeat the same process. Pull the little lever, let it go, and it'll crack and it'll create the little crease or the little cut on the egg, and remove that top of the eggshell. And again, pour in the egg yolk and the egg whites into the bowl. You can also place the egg into a mini cup or a mini shot glass and do it this way. I just like to just hold the egg. I just find that it's simple that way, but do whatever you like and whatever's easier for you. Continue cracking all your eggs until done. I am doing a total of 30 eggs today. There is pros and cons to using this egg topper cracker. The pro to using this egg cracker topper is that it's quick, simple, easy, and it creates this really nice cut. But the con to this is the fact that the cut is pretty large, so when we pour our eggs back into the empty shell, we're actually going to be wasting excess amount of eggs, white and yolks. Here is the other way to crack your eggs if you don't have that cracker topper. Just grab a spoon and hit your eggs with that spoon, and then start peeling some of that eggshell off. And depending on how large you want your hole to be, you want to just peel the shell, but be very careful, because if you do it this way, a lot of time you might be pouring some eggshell into your mixture, so be careful on that part. All of the eggs has been cracked, and this is how the eggshell looks like. They're all gorgeous with a really nice round cut. And now we're going to mix seasoning into our eggs. To the egg whites and yolks, we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, more or less depending on your preference, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 3 teaspoons of Golden Mountain seasoning sauce, and 4 teaspoons of kwong seng sauce. It's the blue lid, and of course I'll show the picture in a little bit as well. If you don't plan on using the Golden Mountain seasoning sauce, then you'll need to add a little bit more salt. The Golden Mountain seasoning sauce is kind of like a salty soy sauce, but it has a different taste to it. And then for the kwong seng sauce, if you don't have that, you can do without as well. This is like a sweet soy sauce. If you don't want to add any of these sauce, you can just do salt and black pepper as well. And then if you're not sure if the taste is right, what you want to do is just grab a teaspoon or a tablespoon, and you want to just kind of stir fry it real quick and taste it to see how it tastes like. And if it's good, then you're good to go. Okay, next we are going to blend all of our ingredients together. If you don't have a blender, you can use a whisk, an electrical whisk, or you can do it manually. I'm using an immersion blender. It's just easier. The only thing I do want to point out is that if you do blend your ingredients together, it actually forms more of a bubbly foam, and you'll need to remove that later. I forgot to mention earlier, if you're going to be cracking your eggs with a spoon, then you'll want to run your egg whites and yolks through a sieve just to make sure that there's no eggshell left in your mixture. So after I have blended my eggs and the seasoning, there's a lot of foam from blending this. So what I did was I removed most of the foam. There's still some left, but that's okay. And then I'm going to grab my measuring cup and pour some of that egg mixture into the measuring cup. And then I want to pour that back into the eggshell. You want to fill it pretty much to the top, but if you don't get to the top yet, you can always fill more later. After filling your eggs, what I do is I grab my spoon and I kind of try to remove as much of the foam as I can. And then I go back in and try to fill in more of the egg mixture just to make sure that they do get to the top of the eggs. Optional, if you want to add any toppings to the top of your eggs like cilantro and green onion, you can as well. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees Fahrenheit and bake your eggs in the middle rack for 1 hour. After 1 hour, this is how your eggs should look like. They should be pretty jiggly like jello that aren't firm yet. You'll want to, of course, increase your temperature to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for another 1.5 hours. After 2 hours, this is how the eggs look like, and they're not ready. And see what I'm doing, and you'll notice why it's not ready. If I stick a toothpick in, when it comes out, the egg does not come with a toothpick, and also there's still some of that mixture that's stuck onto the toothpick and it's still wet. So we're gonna bake this for another 30 minutes. It has been 2.5 hours and our eggs are baked and ready. And check what I'm doing. This is how you know your eggs are ready. Grab that toothpick, stick it into the center of the egg and pull it up, and your egg should come with the toothpick. This means your eggs are baked, firm, and ready, so you can take it out of the oven and let it cool completely before removing the shells. Next, let's make our chili dipping sauce, or if you want, you can use sweet dipping sauce. Those are for like egg rolls as well. The recipe for this chili dipping sauce will be listed here on the left. In a mortar and pestle, add in 3 tablespoons of crushed or blended Thai chili, 3 tablespoons of chopped cilantro or green onion or both, and more or less based on what you like. 3 to 4 tablespoons of fish sauce, more or less based on your taste. Half teaspoon of fresh lime, more or less based on your taste. And then the other two are optional, which is sugar and MSG. And of course, everything here is based on what I like, but you can, of course, like I mentioned, adjust based on your preference. And if you don't want to use fish sauce, you can use salt, and you can also add 2 to 3 tablespoons of water to make your dipping sauce a little bit more watery if you want. And all you're really doing is you're just bruising your cilantro and green onions and just mixing this together. So if you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can just mix this into a bowl as well. Here's a closer look at our chili, and this is all we pretty much need to do. So after this, we'll just remove this and transfer it into a smaller dipping bowl. So let's go ahead and crack some of these eggs and see how the inside looks like. I do want to point out that my eggs are still warm, but they're pretty easy to peel off the eggshell, but it is recommended to let them cool completely before removing it. It'll just be a lot easier to remove the shell when they're cool completely. If you notice, the top of our egg has this more orangey-ish, brownish color from our eggs, and it's just a little bit firmer texture. So if you don't like it, you can remove it. Otherwise, you can definitely eat it. Here is the inside of our baked egg, and as you can see, it is missing a good portion of the top of the egg because I used the egg cracker topper. Well, I hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my other food tutorials and recipes.